Guys, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I want to apologize for the last video that I did not complete the video as intended. Um, some technical problem occurred that I wasn't aware of. So, um, I didn't check until much later, and I realized what the heck happened. So I'm going to redo the video. I won't go into. I will replay the scene without the audio to refresh your memory. I will not go into much discussion about it like I did to save a little time and repetition. So I'll just replay the scene without audio, and then I will play the scene again with the audio and then again without. So to refresh your memory, we will watch this again without the audio, and let's ask the question, is this the way Americans should treat their fellow Americans? Even though they're kids, doesn't matter. They're still people. And you're all going through the same experiences as teenagers. So, if anything, teenagers should be more sympathetic toward their classmates because most likely they're going through the same thing you are. Okay, so in any event, it all has to do with upbringing. But I've also said sociology plays in with psychology because of whatever peer pressure there is. Okay, when you're in a group, the behavior of the group, okay, and the behavior of the individuals within that group play off each other. So, the behavior of each member of that group can contribute to the overall behavior of the entire group. And then the behavior of the group can affect the behavior of each individual member of that group. So it's important to note that psychology and sociology play off each other. Okay. All right. So we shouldn't ask the question, how did the parents raise these kids? To the extent that they would treat their fellow classmate, their fellow human being, their fellow American the way that they do. It's the behavior of the group. And when the behavior of the individual, or I should say, when the individual sacrifices his or her morals to fit in with the behavior of the group, then you might as well originally have those bad bad thinking. Anyway, here we go. Here's the scene again without the audio. I think this is why I know where I goofed up. Okay. Try to work this. Okay, here we go. Again, she's minding her own business, listening to her music, walking along a public street. She's probably going through a lot of self-exploration, who she is, what she used to become, whatever stresses in her life, whatever problems she has, family or whatever. Thinking these are friends, classmates. Hey, let's walk with you. Nope. and they toss her in a dumpster full of garbage. Is this the way we're supposed to treat other people? How different is that than a newborn mother throwing her baby in the trash, in the garbage? Is there any difference of tossing a baby in the trash? Is there a difference? Should there be a difference? Shouldn't it be all the same? So, it really shouldn't be the same. A human life is a human life. And a human being is a human being. Whether it's a baby or a teenager. Why and how can we accept this and tolerate this as acceptable behavior? To toss a human being in a dumpster full of trash. The only difference between the baby and the teenager is that the baby is unaware and cannot understand where the baby is. A teenager, on the other hand, she knows where her fellow Americans, her fellow classmates threw her into. And that's the difference. So why do we feel more strongly toward a baby being tossed in the trash than a human being? A teenager, a human being. A person who may have hopes and dreams, aspirations, family who loves her. Why do we tolerate it? Why must this be allowed? Why and how can we let this kind of treatment of our fellow human being? Why is this happening at all? Well, now, I will replay the scene with the audio. And I guarantee you'll have a totally different reaction than just simply tossing your fellow human being, your fellow American, in the trash.
Trash day, Ledbo? Talk like trash day. Yeah, you just haven't had the right dick yet, Ledbo. Man. Man, maybe one day.
Why do we feel differently? Do you feel differently? And if you do, why? Why does it matter what they said to her? Why should that matter? but like most people, it does. Now remember, this film is based on real life. Matter of fact, the victim of that attack wrote a memoir about her experience, and she directed and wrote this movie. Because she wanted to show what happened to her. That because she was a lesbian, that made it okay for her classmates to treat her this way. I remember this happened before the 1990s, before gay and lesbian pride burst onto the scene. I have a very, very close friend, and we went to school together. And he suspected that he was gay. He told me that the kids treated him cruelly, probably no different than the kids here treated this American young lady. Why? Just because she liked women instead of guys? She was more attracted to girls than guys? Why should that matter? Is she hurting anybody? Is she making their lives miserable? What crimes has she committed that they could behave like judge, jury, and executioner? What was her sins that in which she would deserve this kind of punishment? I don't see any. She likes girls. She is happiest being in a relationship with another girl. So, you know, just because you love who you love, does that mean that people can treat you this cruelly and toss you in the trash? What message were they trying to convey? Were they trying to influence her? Say, hey, you're worthless, and only if you change your sexual orientation will you be accepted? It's absurd. It's absurd. Being American means that we are free to pursue happiness. That is one of our basic rights granted in the Constitution. The right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness. She has that right as an American to pursue happiness. And if her happiness is with another girl, then that is her constitutional right. And what right do those other kids have to infringe upon her constitutional rights to pursue happiness the way would make her happy? But this is where sociology come into play more than psychology. But you know what? To me, it doesn't matter what they said. Doesn't matter at all. The word dyke, hey, rhymes with hike. They could say, hey, you fucking hike. Hey, let's go on a hike together. It's a word. It's all it is. It's a four-letter word. D-I-K-E or D-Y-K-E. So what? Or in Holland, and there's a hole in the dike, and put your finger in the hole in the dike so the town doesn't flood. We use the word dike in that rhyme, that the little Holland girl stuck her finger in the hole in the dike to prevent the water from seeping through. You know, maybe you can find some bubble gum and stick it in the hole of the dike. Dike, it's a damn word. It's all it is a word. Made up of four letters. Lesbo. It's a word. It's all it is a word. Made up of American letters. Lesbo. So, words mean nothing. Actions, behaviors. That means more than words. And as I said before, that we conservatives care more about what President Trump does than what he says. Because all the things that the press complain about what he says, they're just falling into his trap. President Trump knows how easily the press and the media, take him. They hate him so much. No different than what those kids felt about her. So President Trump just says, I will tease the media, get them crazy. And then the media says, oh, President Trump said this and he said this. Oh, did you hear his latest thing that he said? He said this, he said that. But what about what he does? Who cares what he does? He said this. And it's like, and the press falls into his trap all the time. So it's more important what people do than what they say. Just like in the Jewish tradition, it cares more about what people do than how they believe and what they believe. Or if you believe this or you believe that. It's unimportant. How did you treat your fellow American? How did you treat your fellow human being? Did you give that person the respect they are entitled to as a fellow human being with the same feelings, people that they love? And the same thing with the cops. I just saw in the news this morning, was it this morning or yesterday, about how when they're looking at cops and how people hate cops, they don't even conceive of the notion that that cop they hate has children who love him, has a wife or husband who loves him, family, friends who love him. But they hate him just the same. And, my ex-wife, who's a devoted Christian, right? And she believes that an atheist is to be condemned. because the atheist does not believe in Christian teaching. I said to her, okay, so, and about a rich atheist, and then I threw that up at her. Okay, and according to the New Testament, that about being rich, you cannot go into heaven. And I said, really? Okay, so I'll give you a double whammy. Supposing that a rich atheist has donated money to improve a neighborhood, has donated money to a local park that has fell into disrepair, and this rich, very rich, wealthy, millionaire atheist